Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Friday, lovely Friday, September 2nd, 2022. It was a great day. I don't know about you, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, I really did. What am I talking about? Well, what a sick market. Higher earlier in the day, 10-year yield started to come down, looking real pretty. Then we got some abysmal economic news, and the market reversed. 10-year yield goes back up. Sell off across the board with regard to the stock market. Let's talk about some of the economic news that we got. U.S. factory orders plunge, missing the forecast by like miles. Okay, so U.S. factory orders off of a cliff. U.S. job growth cratering. Yeah, I guess, you know, all the talk of we're not going into recession. You remember Janet Yellen? But what is that thing? What is it? Someone define to me what it is, because I don't know. It's not human. But anyway, oh, she has a fan club too, Janet Yellen. So I guarantee you, watch the comments. You're going to see people, Greg, why are you picking on an old lady? Because she wants you to die. You understand? You understand? Oh, they're just a freak show. Anyway, so yeah, we're not going into recession, but we're in, like, this is way worse, okay? What we're in now is, you know, it's just the opening act. You all know that. But we are moving into a full-blown, and I mean like you have no idea, depression. And, you know, look, the stock market, all right, is what it is. Goes up and down, backwards and sideways. 10-year yield, bond market is the linchpin to this entire thing. And I'm telling you here and now, the market is worried, just like market participants are, myself included, that this instability in the debt market is going to really get out of hand. Because here's the situation. Once it really gets out of hand, there's no stopping it. And we already understand, you and me, the grand plan is to allow the debt market to freaking implode, take everything with it, wipe out the financial system worldwide as we know it, so they can create the biggest outcry you've ever heard in the history of the world, so they can introduce a new system, period, the end. That's what we have here. That's what we're building up to. The market doesn't like what it's smelling. Plus, we have a 3-day weekend. You know, it was really an interesting day to me in the market. You know, it looked good earlier, like I said. And then this economic news. I mean, it doesn't stop. The bad economic news does not stop. It keeps getting progressively worse. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They were talking about the Goldilocks jobs number today. But let's see. The unemployment rate goes higher. But it was a Goldilocks number today. How does that work? Maybe you want to let me in on that. People, there is no way. I say this every day. There is no way maybe you can. I am not really that creative. I could not make any of this stuff up if I even tried to do it. That's just me. I know there's a lot of you out here are massively creative people. Me? Nah. I'm just kind of a straightforward guy. I look at what's going on, I laugh. Maybe sometimes I cry a little bit. Look, the only reason why I said that is, why do I get upset? Because I realize people are hurting. People are hurting worse than they ever have here. Look, most people today believe we are at least in a recession, if not worse. I want to hear from you. There's question number one. What's your take on the current situation? I mean, forget about what you're being fist-fed, dog shit, cat shit, bird shit, wrapped up in some other kind of monkey pox shit. You know, what do you see? Do you believe that we have no inflation? That's what our president said, you know, the imbecile. I have to say that. It's just a knee-jerk reaction, you know, boom, it just comes out of my mouth. The man he's either retarded or he's an imbecile, a combination of the both. I don't know, or he's just a massive deceiver on an epic scale. You can let me know about that too. But where do you believe we are at? You can answer this in one word: recession, or a couple of words: worse than recession, depression. What do you see going on? I want to hear from you. Okay, so with that said here, where was I? Just talking about this freak show and the bad economic news that doesn't stop. And it won't stop. And then you got, you know, the propaganda ministry. Oh, it's a Goldilocks number. This number was so great today that the stock market fell across the board. That's how good the numbers were. Make it up. Like I said, make it up. I feel like making a face. Why am I doing this? Because if I don't, I will go nuts. Let me calm down. It helps me. Look, we all have little coping mechanisms. It actually hurt a little bit. That's my little coping mechanism. Look, we all got to freak out from time to time. Don't you think? It keeps you like kind of grounded. It keeps you kind of centered. You know what I mean? But we're never going to give up. And we're never going to surrender to this entire freak show that we have going on. Let's talk about the market real quick. All right, so it was going up and down like a yo-yo today. Okay, whatever. 10-year yield up and down like a yo-yo. Realize what you're seeing. The debt market is supposed to be stable. It's supposed to be stable. You're not supposed to have bond yields wavering all over the place. But now it's become the norm. You're not supposed to see that. This instability in the debt market, very evident to see to anyone who has an eyeball. One eyeball open, okay? So that's what's rattling the markets on top of the bad economic news. It's not going to stop. Not going to stop here, period. Okay, we know that. So you got gold and silver catching a bit today, dollar flat, Bitcoin still about flat, crude oil doing okay here. Okay, that's the story, that's the situation. But going back to what I spoke about this week here, look, you always must have the high ground, people. Whether the debt market is becoming stable right now, which I don't think it is, I really don't, or it's going to just get completely out of hand by design, just period. That's how it's going to play out. You must be ready for that, people. This is why I'm telling you. Look, I got beat up. If you look at the comments on some of the videos I've made recently, I'm just telling people to be prepared for a worst case scenario. I don't know why that is so troubling to some people. Maybe you can explain that to me. I just want people to be ready for anything that comes down the pike here. Is it wrong to have a stash of non-perishables? Is it wrong to have some cash on hand? Well, some people think, I'm making a big deal out of nothing here. But what's wrong with being ready? I don't understand that. Me, I'm ready. I'm telling you that right now. I am ready. If this whole thing just goes up in flames in a nanosecond, because you have to understand something else too. When this thing really gets going, it's not going to be a slow burn. You're going to see like a 50 basis point jump, more than that, in one day when that debt market starts to melt down. Why? Because everybody runs to the door at the same time. And with regard to the stock market, it's very simple to understand how this works too. What I sincerely believe in my heart of hearts, and I think if you follow this blog, you believe it too. This issue with the debt market, it's a Frankenstein monster. It's a Frankenstein monster. And it's going to engulf the earth. It's going to swallow the world. Okay, that I think we are on the same page at one point. It's going to lock up the entire system when it implodes. The system is going to change. People's lives are going to change. Now, when that sell-off happens, and it's going to be very rapid, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the stock market. You know the scenario. What happens in a full-on, let's say, actual stock market collapse is everybody runs to the door at the same time trying to sell whatever they have. And then at one point, people are willing to sell it for anything. So they put in market order, market order, market order. Generally, when people sell a stock, a derivative, or whatever it might be, they put in what's called a limit order. In other words, okay, Greg Mannarino, can't even say my name right. Greg Mannarino wants to sell XYZ stock. Okay, if I do that, I'm not going to put in at a market order. You have a choice between a market order or a limit order. Understand? Anyone that sells something or even buys an asset at market price, well, you're asking to be ripped off. You got to be an imbecile to buy things at market. I never buy anything at market. If I don't get my price, I don't buy. You understand? So, selling is the same thing. When you want to sell an asset, okay, you don't sell it at a market order. You're telling the market maker to rob you blind. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You wouldn't do that. No one would do that. So I am willing to sell asset XYZ stock, whatever it might be, at a limit price of X. This is what I'm willing to take for it. No less. You understand? But in the case of a full-blown market meltdown, forget about it. That just goes crazy. People start lowering their limit. Okay, I was willing to take this, but now I'm going to take this, but I'm not, but it's still not selling. Now I'm willing to take this. And then all of a sudden you got a slew of market orders being put in, and then the market just zooms down. It just craters through the floor. That's how a real crash happens, not a slow burn. Everybody runs the door at the same time. Look, I hope you're getting a little bit out of these videos that I put out here. Some of this stuff is gold. It really is. You're not going to find this anywhere else unless you're in the market. You're a market guy like myself. Anyway, so that's the story today. And I want to hear from you, like I said. Like, question number one, where are we? Do you believe we're in a recession? Is this worse than recession? Where is this going? Here's question number two. Where do you see this whole thing going? Is it going to miraculously improve? Are things going to just turn around like our lovely politicians want you to believe, like the Federal Reserve wants you to believe? You see, you have to understand, and I know you do, when you're hearing stuff like that, you have to know that the polar opposite is happening. You understand? Anyway, that's the situation, people. I think you're well aware of everything that's going on. I try my hardest, and I really mean this, to keep all of you on the cutting edge of what is going on. I've taught you how to read the debt market, how to watch the flow of money through markets, how cash moves through the markets, where the most likely places cash will go in a meltdown. Now, let me know if that makes sense to you. Let's put that together real quick. You know my scenario. Meltdown in the debt market, which is going to happen. Yields are going to spike in an uncontrolled fashion. Okay, that's going to put pressure on the stock market. I believe firmly in my heart of hearts that that cash is just going to move into commodities. If you look back on history, where am I getting this from? Okay, if you look back on history at these kinds of scenarios, we've never had a meltdown in the debt market like this before, like we're going to have. We've never had a hyper bubble in the debt market before. So some of this you got to kind of conjure up out of your head, out of common sense. But cash doesn't really fly away. It doesn't grow money wings and just, say goodbye and, see you later. It doesn't do that. No, it just moves. It moves from one set of assets into another. It always does that. Risk on, risk off. Risk on, meaning cash is going into equities and stocks. Risk off, meaning it's going into commodities and or the debt market instead of selling off like we're seeing right now. So there's a weird phenomenon going on here. And you got to kind of look through a lot of this and kind of fill in the blanks. You know what I mean? It's not simple to be a market analyst, which is, I guess, what I actually am. I'm a speculator as well. Not easy, okay? And you got to fill in a lot of blanks sometimes. And you got to say, okay, well, let's look at this. And then let's hold on a minute here. What about this and that? And it drives me nuts. It really does. And sometimes I get so, frankly, mentally drained. I just want to quit altogether. But look, we're a big family. We're a big team. I got your back, and I know you have mine. Thank you again, those of you that have supported my work. On the first, that's another thing people make me feel really bad about sometimes. On the first of every month, I just ask you to support my work. I don't really understand why that's such a big deal. I do this twice a day. Believe me, I could find other things to do, but I enjoy doing this. I love all of you. I feel like we're a big, you don't know how many times I'm out. Like I'm walking through a mall or wherever I might be, and I hear my name getting called out. And I don't know who these people are. And I turn around and somebody runs up to me. Oh my God, I watch your work. I love you. You're so great. Thank you so much. And I get hugs and I get kisses sometimes. And I love it. I love that stuff. Anyway, look, it proves to me that I'm making a difference, a positive difference in the world. And that's what we all have to do. Make a positive difference in the world. If nothing else, that's what we should do. Okay, if we all come together and not allow the forces that be to divide us and conquer us like they always do, keep us distracted and lied to and propagandize. Imagine what a beautiful world this would actually be, honestly. All right, with that said, this video is getting kind of long. Oh, by the way, market is closed on Monday. You will not see me on Sunday for my markets to look ahead. I will do my markets look ahead on Monday. Okay, so I get an extra day off here. But anyway, bring it in. No one's looking. Bring it in. Let's do this together, all right? Love each other. Care about each other. Be charitable. I do this every Friday. It's so important to me. And I think, at least I hope, to you as well, all right? I'll see you Monday for my markets to look ahead. And have a great weekend. People, stay happy, stay safe. Tell your family members that you love them if you haven't in a while. Go pet your dog. Tell your dog you love them. Or Kiss your dog. Anyway, I'm out of here before I go crazy. I'll see you Monday.